Namaskar. Today we will be discussing the unit concept of nirvana of Buddhism. So before going into this unit, we have to know something about Buddhism. Buddhism is known as Nastika school of Indian philosophy. Like the greatest teacher of ancient times, Buddha taught people through the medium of conversation. For a long time, his disciples imparted his oral instruction to successive generations. The knowledge of Buddha's teaching may be found in Tripitaka or the three baskets of law, namely Vinaya Pitaka, Sutta Pitaka, and Abhidhamma Pitaka. This unit basically introduces about the Buddhist concept of nirvana. Nirvana means moksha or liberation. To analyze the concept of nirvana, at first we have to discuss about the Four Noble Truths. Basically, Buddha was an ethical teacher and reformer rather than a metaphysician. He preaches orally. The message of his enlightenment shows people the way to lead towards nirvana. Buddha found metaphysical questions useless in our practical life. So he tried to enlighten people on the most important questions of life: suffering, its origin, cessation from it, and the path leading to its cessation. The teachings of Buddha were variously interpreted and developed by his disciples. Religiously, Buddhism is divided into two important sects, Hinayana and Mahayana. Like Jainism, Hinayana is religion without God, and karma takes the place of God. Hinayana emphasizes liberation for and by the individual himself. According to Hinayana, nirvana is negative. On the other hand, Mahayana believes that nirvana is not a negative cessation of misery but a positive state of bliss. Now, we'll discuss very briefly the Four Noble Truths of Buddhism. The first noble truth, there is suffering, is considered as the tyranny of pain. Life is full of misery and pain. Each and everything in this universe is painful. Birth is painful, death is painful, disease is painful, decay is union with the unpleasant and is painful, and separation from the pleasant is painful. It means that all that springs from attachment are painful. It is common experience that the world is full of suffering, poverty, disease, old age, death, selfishness, greed, anger, hatred, conflicts, exploitation are flourishing excessively in this world. No one can deny this fact. Hence, life of an individual is painful. Now, the second noble truth, there is a cause of suffering. The second noble truth is there is cause of suffering. It is concerned with the causes of suffering. According to Buddhism, everything has a cause. Nothing comes out of nothing. Ex nihilo nihil fit. The existence of every event is dependent upon its cause and condition. Everything in this universe is considered as conditional, relative, and limited. So, being a fact, suffering also must have a cause. It must depend on some conditions. Craving generates the cycle of birth and death and is the cause of suffering. Craving is of threefold: craving for sensual pleasure, craving for being, and craving for wealth. Buddha stated that because of birth, humans suffer, or there is suffering. If a man were not born, he would not have been subject to the miserable states. Again, birth has its own condition, that is, the will to become or born. Mental craving to object is the responsible condition for the will to be born. The craving is also because of thirst or desire to enjoy objects. Thirst again is due to sense experience, which is due to sense object contact. Sense object contact is also because of the six sense organs of cognition. It is again due to psychophysical organism, which is dependent upon initial consciousness of the embryo. Vijnana again is based on impressions of karmic forces. It is also because of the ignorance of truth, which is the root cause of all suffering. Now, the third noble truth is related to the cessation of suffering. Buddha viewed that though the world is full of suffering, it is not without a cause. Again, there is cessation of suffering, that is, it can be suppressed. Everything in this universe is dependent upon some causes and conditions. If these causes and conditions are removed, the effect also will cease to exist. Hence, as an effect, suffering also have causes and conditions. If these causes and conditions are removed, then suffering will definitely be destroyed. Ignorance is the main cause of suffering, and if it is removed, suffering will cease to exist. By removing ignorance, man can attain liberation or nirvana. It may be mentioned here that Buddha believed that nirvana can be attained in this life. When the control of patience and constant contemplation of truth lead a human being to perfect wisdom through the stages of concentration, then he becomes free from the worldly attachment. He is therefore liberated and called as Arhat. This state of human being is called Nirvana. Now, the fourth noble truth is known as Dukkha Nirodha Marga, or there is a way leading to the cessation of suffering. There is an ethical and spiritual path by following which suffering or pain can be removed. Buddha himself followed this path and suggested to follow it. The right knowledge regarding the causes of suffering shows the way of liberation. Buddha recommended 8 steps or rules to attain liberation. These are known as Noble Eightfold Path or Astangika Marga. For liberation, Eightfold Path should be practiced. It consists of 8 steps. Now we will discuss the main concept, that is the concept of nirvana. The concept of nirvana is considered as the highest aim for human beings, according to Buddha. The word nirvana literally means blowing out or cooling. Blowing out suggests extinction. Cooling suggests not complete annihilation, but only the dying out of hot passion. According to Buddhism, nirvana is not the blessed fellowship with God. By nirvana, Buddha meant only the extinction of false desire. Nirvana is an ethical condition for being, for it is not a samskara or what is made or put together, which is impermanent. The illusion of becoming is founded on the reality of nirvana. Nirvana is the root principle of all, and so it is indefinable. Nirvana is compared to deep sleep and is stated that in nirvana the soul loses its individuality and lapses into the objective whole. It is neither annihilation nor existence as we conceive it. It is the state of activity which is not the subject of causality, for it is unconditional freedom. It is the state of real and enduring thought, not existent in the world of time and space. In one sense, it is self-extinction. In another sense, absolute freedom. According to Buddha, to think that nirvana is annihilation is a wicked heresy. Nirvana is the extinction of greed, hate, anger, and delusion. It is the extinction of becoming or rebirth. It is considered as complete extinction of passions and consequent suffering. It is neither annihilation nor inaction, but compatible with active intellectual and social life. It is that state of enlightenment which removes all ignorance. It is the state of perfect self-possession and unconditioned freedom. The liberated person is devoid of egoism or the sense of individuality. There is extinction of individual existence in the state of nirvana. However, attainment of nirvana does not make a person inactive and indifferent to the world around him. Buddha himself led an active life from his enlightenment to the day of his death. Nirvana is a way of life in conformity with the spirit of Buddha's teachings. That wisdom consists in treading the middle path, avoiding the extremes of asceticism, inactivity, and indifference on one hand, and that of frantic pursuit of mindless pursuit of pleasure on the other. In the Pali text, nirvana has been described as the state of bliss. The liberated person is free from evil desire. He has perfect knowledge about the Four Noble Truths. The Dharmapada states that nirvana is a state of bliss, crown of happiness, perfect peace, free from greed, hatred, and delusion. It is that happiness which is distinct from pleasure. It is the blissful end. The depth of nirvana is immeasurable and unfathomable as the ocean. it is inconceivable. According to Buddha, nirvana is neither annihilation nor eternal existence, but an indescribable state of perfect wisdom. We may mention here about two kinds of nirvana. These are upadhisesha and anupadhisesha. In upadhisesha nirvana, only human passions are extinct, and in anupadhisesha nirvana, all being is extinct. When we say that people attain nirvana in this world, we mean upadhisesha nirvana. It is the arhatship which becomes parinirvana when the arhat disappears from this transitory world. Parinirvana means absolute perfection of being. According to Hinayana school of Buddhism, liberation is only for and by the individual himself. It is the difficult part of self-help. Its goal is arhathood, or the state of the ideal saint who obtains personal salvation. On the other hand, Mahayana school, which is considered as great vehicle, the big ship can accommodate a much larger number of people and can safely and securely take them to the shore of nirvana from the troubled waters of the ocean of samsara. Hinayana is considered as a small vehicle that aims at attaining arhathood. Mahayana considers nirvana as a positive state of bliss. Thus, according to Buddhism, the world is full of suffering. Ignorance is the root cause of suffering. Ignorance can be removed only through knowledge. Hence, knowledge is the sole means of liberation. To get rid of suffering, people should have the right knowledge about Four Noble Truths, and they should follow the Eightfold Path or Astangika Marga provided by Buddha. When an individual follows the Eightfold Path, he can attain nirvana in this life. Now, we will discuss some highlighting points of this unit, the concept of nirvana. Buddha taught people through the medium of conversation. The knowledge of Buddha's teachings may be found in the Tripitaka. They are Vinaya Pitaka, Sutta Pitaka, and Abhidhamma Pitaka. Religiously, Buddhism is divided into two important sects, Hinayana and Mahayana. Hinayana emphasizes liberation for and by the individual himself. Mahayana believes that nirvana is not a negative cessation of misery, but a positive state of bliss. Buddha basically was an ethical teacher and a reformer who always tried to enlighten persons on the most important questions of suffering, its origin, its cessation, and the path of its cessation. According to Buddha, life is full of misery and pain. According to Buddhism, everything has a cause, nothing comes out of nothing. Ignorance is the root cause of suffering, which can be removed only through right knowledge. Now, we have to discuss some important books which will help us to understand the unit, the concept of nirvana in a comprehensive manner. These books are S.C. Chatterjee's book and D.M. Datta's book, An Introduction to Indian Philosophy. Rihanna's book Outlines of Indian Philosophy, Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan's book Indian Philosophy, C.D. Sharma's book A Critical Survey of Indian Philosophy, Jadunath Sinha's book Outlines of Indian Philosophy will be helpful to understand the unit, the concept of nirvana in a very comprehensive manner. Thank you.